has Taylor's way of killing homeless with table legs to initiate.
Oh my God. He did such a good job.
He's got a future.
Yeah. So that's our new intro, courtesy of David Vitamin of Vitaverks.
Vita Vita Vegemin.
Yeah. Oh man. I woke up one morning to that in an email last week, and it set the tone for the whole day.
It's better than the original lyric.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Rob, why don't you give a little rundown on what the intro music actually is?
The intro music was from a band I was in back in, I think that was recorded in 1992 in San Francisco. It was actually just a 4-track bedroom recording back when digital home recording stuff was in its infancy. Song about John Henry. The actual title of the song is Heart Like a Mule. But the Taylor Swift thing is
even better.
You nailed the melody.
Oh, yeah. Before we reveal our secret guest, although you probably know somehow from the title or the description, we want to thank our sponsor, Hafla. Hafla offers a wide range of products and solutions for the woodworking and furniture-making industries, from hinges and drawer slides to connectors and dowels, sandpaper, wood glue, shop carts, and everything in between. Exclusive product lines such as Lux LED lighting and Slido door hardware ensure that every project you create is built to last. Learn more at hafla.com.
Yeah, check them out.
Although you probably haven't been able to access hafla.com because they've been having some issues. So hopefully that's cleared up. It might be cleared up now for all I know.
Yeah,
But,
hopefully on their part.
So we got a guest in the studio.
Yep.
If you haven't guessed by now, who do you think it is?
Guess the guest.
We got Keith here from Blackthorn Concepts and Working Hands podcast.
Yeah.
It's a men's health podcast.
It's a men's health podcast. Yeah.
Working hands.
Lately, we've been turning into one.
Yeah, that's true. With Make What You Fear.
Make what you fear.
We won't force you to talk about Make What You Fear or Working Hands or anything if you don't want to.
Talk about whatever.
Yeah, there's always good chance for shameless plugs.
So, yeah.
I got nothing to hide.
So how'd you get started as a maker?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
No, we're not going
Please
to do
don't
that.
do that.
We're not going to do that.
Back in the 80s.
Yeah. As usual, we have nothing specific planned for today. So last week we had the question of the week. We had to announce a winner.
Who could it be?
It's the competition hasn't been so stiff, but
Last week we had some decent questions.
Yeah,
but it's
last
hard
week
to...
you guys got some woodworking questions too.
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah.
Which is good.
So we had our buddy Matthew Serio with the question about the joints, which we failed miserably at.
Yeah, threw us a little bit of a curveball.
Yeah, I did see that coming, but I wasn't sure. So I think Matthew's the winner.
Yeah. He's
Just for effort alone.
That's true. You got to award the effort and the creativity and the ingenuity and
That's true.
We can't let Matt win again.
We did get, 2 questions within envelopes. He's putting in the effort.
yeah.
We did
Handwritten.
have some good. They're already. I archived them in the email, but we did get some good questions. Not that I can remember what they are, because once we hit, what's the opposite of record? Like you hit record and then was it stop?
Pause, stop,
Yeah.
And
and
When we hit stop, all memory of what was spoken is gone on the podcast.
what happens in the podcast stays in the podcast.
Yeah, this morning somebody's like, "Oh yeah, blah blah blah." You were talking about on the podcast. I'm like, "I was." Like,
yeah, I don't remember mine. And I edit mine. I listen to it when I edit it, and then I'll even listen to it before it goes out and make sure the editing was okay. and I don't remember. I spoke it. I listened.
did I
I
say
edited it. I listened to it, and I still don't remember what I said.
That's the way it is with everything. You know, you ever go thumbing back through the photos and go, oh, yeah, I forgot I made that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Something you spent a lot of time and effort on.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah, we made that.
Like, oh, yeah, the confessionals. We booked those confessionals.
It goes further. There's vacations I forget. I
Oh,
went on.
jeez.
Hmm.
Oh, no, I haven't taken enough vacations to forget any.
Yeah. Yeah, we're due.
We're going to go on a little fishing trip.
That's true. Yeah, Keith's coming along
Yeah.
again. The annual, I won't call it a Greene Street fishing trip. I feel like that's unfair to everybody else.
The
But
now annual.
yeah, the now
It's a,
annual
it's a Greene Street. Greene Street organizes it.
spring steelhead slinger.
Yeah.
Just trying for some alliteration there.
It's sort of a Jersey thing, right? Anybody else except for the new guys up there in
Connecticut, yeah.
Tri-state centric.
Yeah. Well, they are from New Jersey.
yeah, it's true.
So yeah, we got that. It's April 20,
Is it 21st?
21st to the 23rd.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, excited for that. That's going to be here quick. That's in 2 months. Basically 2 months. Yeah, shit. I'm going to Dominican Republic for my sister-in-law's 40th birthday, but I don't think that's until next year or the year after.
Is that where the wedding was that you went?
Yeah. Yeah, the plan was to go back to the same place, and then my wife's like, well, Mallory doesn't know if that's where she wants to go. I'm like, the whole part of the thing was we already knew where we were going. It's like, that takes like half the stress out of a vacation. It's like, we've been there, we know what the deal is, what it's going to be like, what to expect. Like, now you're just throwing a whole curveball into this whole thing for me.
Yeah, that was...
I got in a fight with the Dominican mafia down there one time.
Oh, yeah?
God.
Yeah.
Expand on the story.
So we went to a resort, and they tell you don't leave the resort.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So I didn't. And they have down, like the cabanas down by the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a room. I don't know how we got it, but it was one of those ones that comes with like your own butler.
Oh, yeah. You might have stayed at the same place I was at.
Probably.
Like a
I'll show you.
Seinfeld sitcom,
The Royalton Barbaro.
I don't know what it was called,
Yeah.
but we had a
In the
butler.
Diamond Club?
I don't know.
Yeah.
And we went down for like, I don't know, 3 days or something, 4 days. And when you have a butler, they give you a phone. And you can call the butler whenever you want, right? That's the only thing that phone does. But it's a phone. It's not a walkie-talkie or anything. So, like, you buzz him. And he's the butler for not just our room. He's not a personal butler, but they call him a butler. And you can buzz him in the morning and say, I want to get one of those cabanas down by the ocean. So we did that. He sets us up, and I go down, and we're laying in this cabana with, like, the thing around it. And my wife's like, oh, I'm going to go back to the room for a minute. So she leaves, and I'm just sitting there, right? And there's a family that comes in next to us, but they're one in from the ocean. So now I'm on the ocean. The minute you go into the ocean, you're leaving the resort.
Ah.
But as long as you're past, like they had like a post out there, as long as you're inside the post, locals can't go into that post. Well, apparently locals can, and they do. And they came up to me, and now I'm in one of those cabanas with the curtains on 3 sides, but it's just looking like catty corner at the ocean. And these 3 guys come up, and they start yelling at me that I stole from their store yesterday. I landed last night, so I wasn't in their store yesterday. So he's screaming at me that he wants my money back. He wants my money back. So
Extortion.
Yeah.
Yeah, scam.
Yeah. I was like, I don't have your money, right? So naturally, in my arrogant state, I start screaming at him, and I stand up. But I'm standing on the bed because they won't let me out of this 3-walled thing. So I'm screaming, and it's like, it's curtains, so you can see in, see out. And I'm just screaming. So finally, I buzz the butler, right, with the phone I'm holding in my hand, but I never hold it up to myself. And I start describing what these guys are doing as I'm yelling at them, right? And then as I'm doing that, these guys are getting real irate. And I look down, and like one guy's got his fingers that have been cut off from
Oh, jeez.
devious things with stuff. And then I start to push my way out of this cabana, and the guy from the cabana next to me jumps up and starts speaking Spanish and intervenes. I have no idea what he said, but he calmed the whole situation down. The butler comes down with security from the thing, and I know it's all intertwined, like they were trying to do it.
Yeah.
And supposedly, it was the big eagle tattoo on my back that was what pinned it from me to this guy, right? So security's there. So they asked me to turn around. I turn around. I have no tattoo on my back, so it wasn't.
I was going to say, I'm like, I didn't know Keith had a big eagle tattoo on his back.
It wasn't me. So apparently, they leave or whatever, and the guy in the cabana next to me comes over and he starts talking. He's like, dude, I could hear that you're from Jersey in your accent, and I knew this wasn't going to go well, right? You weren't going to back down, and those guys were going to kill you right here, you know? I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, my God. I figured it was a scam, you know, they come up and just make a scene and hope that you give them money, you know, like just to like smooth the situation over.
I'm sure that's what it was, but I wasn't going to back down from it.
Yeah, so same, you know, well, no, not same thing. When we were there, it was like, you know, morning time. I forget, my wife, it was the morning of the wedding, so my wife it was for a woman that my wife works with, and she's a hairdresser. So we're down there. My wife is at the wedding venue doing the hair, you know, for the bridesmaids and the bride and all that shit. So I'm walking around, you know, this place by myself. I'm smoking a cigar. I walked down on the beach, and then the cigar salesman comes up to me and trying to sell me all these cigars and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, how come that says, what did it say? Havana. And he's like, I'm not trying to scam anybody. It's just the seeds are from Cuba. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, thanks. I'm like, I'm good. I'm like, I got cigars in the room.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's always sketchy when you go to a place where, you know, it's like almost third world country outside the resort area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And one experience I had was down in Martinique, and one of our friends in the traveling party had to see a dentist, and so you had to go off the resort. And no joke, the dentist's office, we'll call it, because what else do you call it?
Right.
Dirt floor. The dentist comes out, no shoes on.
Makes the blood easy to clean up,
You
Rob.
gotta be comfortable.
Yeah. He takes a look at my friend's mouth and he says in his broken English, "Oh, it's got to come out."
Here, drink this bottle of rum. We're gonna pull the tooth.
I went to Cuba, and I wanted to buy. Yeah.
Really?
Did you have to go through Canada or anything?
No.
What year was
So it
this?
was recently,
19.
2019.
Yeah, 19 or 18. Yeah. And we go down, and naturally, you want to buy cigars when you're there, just because.
Mm-hmm.
So, researching it, you're supposed to buy it. Like if you're buying it on the street and not in a store, you can get it cheaper. And it's legal for them to sell it to you. They can only sell so many per family, right? So what they do is they get all the people who work there, and they take their bounty that they're allowed to get, or they get as a bonus from the cigar factories, and they bring it all into one place, and they sell it from that.
Like a little marketplace.
Well, yeah, but it's like a personal marketplace. So it's like buying from Rob, not buying from Greene Street. So it's weird because they have to have like these labels on their shirt in order to be able to sell, right? And they can't market it to you. They're just standing on the street with the label. That's how it goes, because they can't interfere with the tourism. So you see the label as we're walking. We were doing a walking tour, because when you go down there, we had to go for some, like, it has to be educational. So you have to take the tours or whatever. And then you're free to go about and do whatever you want. But we're on the tour, and I keep seeing them. So finally, the wife and I decided, all right, let's go buy some, right? So we talk to the next one we see, and it's like they lead you down an alleyway. Then they lead you.
I'm out right there.
It gets worse. Then they lead you upstairs into an apartment, out the back of the apartment, downstairs to another alley, and then back up into another apartment. And you're like, this is getting really weird. But luckily,
I don't know how to get out of this place now.
Right. And you don't want to be rude and say, no, I don't want it. Like, now I got to go back through that guy's apartment. Like it wasn't like through the apartment the first time. It was like through a hallway. But you could tell this is not a public thoroughfare, right? It's through a building of apartments or whatever.
Yeah, they don't want you to be able to tell somebody how to get, easily how to get to this place.
Right. Then they get us into the thing, and it's actually in somebody's apartment. And their little grandmother's there, and they have one box of every different type that they offer out. And you point at the box you want because there's a language barrier. And I'm like, I'm going to get shivved here, like right now.
No cigar and a gaping wound.
Yeah. And I'm standing there, and I'm like, this is crazy, right? And they tell you, as we went on a cruise to get there, they tell you on the boat, if you're going to buy cigars, they have to have this thing to get it back on, like this ribbon that they put over top. And it's like that you paid the taxes, and it's legal. Otherwise, you're going to be arrested. And, they try and scare you about everything. And none of these boxes had them on there. I'm like, here we go,
Like I'm smoking this right now.
Yeah. And I'm already like, well, I'm not going to smoke a whole box of cigars.
Oh, a whole box,
now.
yeah. Sure.
Yeah, I'm hip deep. I'm in this person's apartment, and there's a bunch of people around me, and I don't know who's a customer and who's not. And you're in like this little room. The room we were in had probably 10 people in it, and it's smaller than the room we're in right now. And I was like, oh. And then you buy it.
Beds.
Yeah. And the minute you buy it, they yell back like behind the curtain, because there's a curtain, like into the kitchen. They yell back, and they come out with the box, and then they let you inspect it, and then they put the
put the seal on.
They put it on while you're watching, and it's all legit. But I didn't know that, and it, like the whole thing seemed sketchy the whole way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an experience to tell on a podcast someday.
Did you have like an overseer when you're going through the streets and stuff like that, or can you
on the walking tour? Yeah, we got in trouble because all that took place, and then they just let you leave. Well, the way I left is not the way I came in. So now I'm running through the streets trying to get back to this walking tour, so I don't get we got in trouble anyway. But once you're done with the walking tour, then you're free to do whatever you want.
And so you could just wander the streets of Cuba on your own independently as a tourist.
Yeah, and I did that, yeah. Havana. I wandered Havana by myself. My wife didn't feel like coming with me at one point, so I just went out taking photos at night. Yeah. It's pretty sick. I mean, they don't mess with you. It's crazy. Like they had, like when they're giving the first speech of what everything has to do, like you're in the square there, like this town square, and there's people that come up to you trying to sell you stuff because they know that you're not Cuban. I don't look Cuban, so they come over.
They have white Cubans.
Yeah. But the way I'm dressed doesn't look like, and they come over, and like I had this one guy come over, and he didn't speak any English, but he's got a card and a marker, and I know what he's doing, right? He's drawing a caricature of me, and then he did one of the wife, and then he's like trying to sell them to me. And I'm trying to hear this woman tell us what we have to do and where not to go and who to talk to about cigars. They're trying, and this guy's bothering me, So I rip out $5 out of my whatever I had in my pocket, right? And I hand it to him. Yeah, just to get it. Or maybe it was Cuban money. I don't know. But I ripped off a $5, and I go to give it to him, and some girl went to grab the rest of it, right? And I went and pushed her.
Shot her dead in the street.
I pushed her away, and sure enough, somebody came over and grabbed those, like both of them, and escorted them out of the square. I don't know what happened. I don't want to know. But it's weird. Like they tell you that they are not, like they're very strict about interfering with the tour because they don't want to get a bad name. Because the tourism's where all the money comes from.
Yeah, they know that, where they're positioned in the world geographically. That's like, that's the main economy down there for all those countries for the most part is tourism. Yeah. And they've been shut off from the United States since 1958 or whatever it was, and just reopened in whatever, it must have been 2018 or something. So it's like, don't screw this up.
Yeah.
Did you see lots of classic cars and stuff like
everywhere,
that?
Yeah. I got a bunch of photos of them I'll show you one day. But it's weird because they look beautiful.
Mm-hmm. But probably everything...
From 50 feet away.
Yeah.
They're 50-footers. And then you get up to them, and you can tell they're piecemeal together. Like some are run on boat motors. And
oh, shit.
Like they're just keeping them running. like whatever they can do to keep that alive. I mean, some of them are real nice, and then depending on what grade of car it is, if you want to like use it as a taxi, the grade of car is the grade of how much you pay.
Oh, really?
To take that? Yeah, yeah. So you can get in one that looks like a clunker you'd see in a yard somewhere here, and pay $5 and probably go around the whole island. You know?
Yeah.
And then there's one that's real nice. You pay $5, he'll take you to the end of the block and kick you out. You know, he wants $100 or whatever, and it makes sense. You know.
What about gas stations?
I didn't see any.
What is there to do in Cuba? Just sightsee?
Yeah, sightseeing.
How's the food?
I don't know. It was good.
Yeah.
Oh, you must have eaten on.
I was
the
only there
ship a
for.
lot.
Yeah, I was only there
yeah,
for like maybe 24 hours.
I see.
As it was right around the time they were locking it down. I think we were the last boat to go before.
So yeah, it must have been 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were in Vegas.
Yep.
As the new, I'm like reading Reddit. They're like, I'm like, yeah, there's like this weird new disease in China. And then we're getting on the plane, and it's like people are wearing masks, and we're like, oh shit. We're like, what the hell? I'm like, we're gonna get sick.
Yeah. And
No, I was talking that they no longer allow us to go back to Cuba.
not for the pandemic.
No, not for the. We went in May, and then I think in May they were doing talks about not doing it. So a lot of the cruise ships just redirected. They're not going to pay for port fees if they can't go.
I gotcha.
And then by June it was over. So
Yeah, we were actually, when we were on the way to the airport, like in an Uber, they're like, yeah, did you hear? Like, you know, somebody in the Tropicana's got this crazy disease, and we're like, we thought we were going to be goners.
Yeah.
Like for sure. It's like we're going to get on this plane and we're just going to die.
yeah,
Plus, if you don't know, the Vegas was really big with Chinese tourists.
Oh yeah, and it was Chinese New Year, so everything was like decorated with Chinese New Year theme.
what
and
time
there
of
was
year is that? February?
December, January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was everywhere. You know, all the Chinese themed stuff to promote it because there were so many Chinese tourists.
Yeah.
And we were looking everywhere like, you know, it's hard to go back now in time, like before the pandemic, and imagine
How free everything was.
yeah, and like how that was just a foreign thought, you know, that this, you know, we never lived through anything like that before.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at it's like any big thing. Like it used to be always pre 9/11. Now we're going to have pre COVID.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pre COVID talk. You can't do that anymore.
Like, I remember TSA didn't even exist before 9/11.
Yeah. I mean, Jeff's heard these stories 100 times, funny things about how I got my passport and everything like that. Like,
I would never fly today.
no, I mean, I don't have a birth certificate.
Yeah.
So I went up to Stamford, Connecticut to get my passport because I figured I could fast talk him up there, which I did.
That's like Hunter. We can't even get my son a passport. Both parents have to be there to get a child a passport.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Wow, that's
stuff
weird.
like,
What if one of you is like non-existent? You take off. Poor kid's got to suffer. 'Cause-
Now, this is coming from my wife also, so it's probably not even true.
Hey, don't put that in the recording.
She doesn't listen.
But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
yeah.
Post-COVID world. You know, they're going to, I think in May? Like,
I don't think there's going to be a post-COVID. I think it's just going to be pre-COVID.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Post,
it's endemic now.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's just the
post-pandemic.
flu, essentially.
Yeah, we're learning all these words now. You've heard the word endemic, but it was never part of your vocabulary.
Right.
Now it is.
It's an indefinite pandemic. Endemic.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like, I mean, I guess it sounds kind of screwed up to say, but it's like most of the people who were susceptible to dying have already died. You know, it's like there was a predisposition in certain people, you know, whatever, having to do with genetic makeup or something. And basically everyone at this point who's made it through probably has the ability to make it through.
we've made it.
And, you know, it's like
That's if they've gotten it.
Right. Well, yeah. I'd like to see what the percentages are like worldwide. Well, we could look that up.
Yeah.
Of who has it and who
Yeah.
hasn't.
Like, I know people who've gotten it 3 times.
So I never tested positive when I got it. I didn't go for an actual test, but my wife had it with the home test.
Mm-hmm.
And I got sick at the same time she did. So it's not coincidental, but mine didn't test positive. So technically I've never had it.
Yeah. And it was like late in the pandemic, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was in August or July.
So, yeah, it was similar with us where, like, my son had it and tested positive, and then, like, my wife tested positive, and I was sick but testing negative, but then I finally tested positive. So this is from 5 days ago. Overall, about 229.7 million people, or 69.2% of the total U.S. population, have sorry. Bad Googling.
Bad Google.
This December 14, 2022, from Harvard, half the U.S. population has had COVID, but many cases are going unreported.
Right. You got to figure.
Yeah, like Rob has never had COVID, but he's probably had it.
Right. Too many people I know.
Yeah.
I mean, and you just get mild symptoms and work through them.
Yeah.
It's is this a sinus, like a mild sinus infection, or do I have COVID? It's like, I don't know.
Like, you ever get one of those...
I work with one other guy.
Yeah.
Do you ever get one of those afternoons where you're just hot all day and you're like, man, I must be running a fever. I'm going to be sick tomorrow, and then by dinner you're fine?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, some people can just clear infections out pretty quick. So.
Oh, yeah. Having a kid, you know all about that. It's like the 24-hour fever. You're like, man, Hunter's really chatty. It's like, I bet he's about to get a fever. And then, like, they'll have a fever, wake up in the middle of the night with a fever, and then by the next day,
it's over.
It's gone. Yeah. It's like, what the fuck was that? Like, where did that come from? I don't remember the last time I had a fever. I didn't even have a fever when I had COVID.
No, he really had just mild symptoms, right?
I was really run down. That was the main thing. I was just exhausted. And I had a headache. It started off with a stomach ache. And that was before my son was even sick. Like, I don't get, like, stomach pain. Like, you get, like, indigestion, or, like, you ate something and you get, like, bubble guts or whatever. But, like, I woke up and my stomach hurt. And I didn't even think, like, I never tied that as a symptom for COVID.
Me either.
But apparently, I guess, Omicron or whatever the hell it was, that was one. But anyway, this isn't the pandemic episode.
It was the vacation episode for a while.
Another episode where half of the listeners shut it off 10 minutes in.
Don't shut it off yet.
Yeah.
We'll talk about woodworking at some point.
Yeah, maybe.
2 minutes before the end.
Well, a little bit of woodworking. Keith's going to make me a coffee scoop.
Yeah. Wow.
I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could use one, except I use an entire cup of beans.
Do you want a coffee scoop?
It has to be 1 cup, though.
All right. I'll rummage through your scrap bin.
It's probably going to have to be a glue up with that size.
Yeah.
Or it's going to have to be like this big around and shallow. Yeah, I use a cup of beans. I grind up 1 cup of beans to make my pot of coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, you grind every morning?
Well, I grind it at night for the morning.
Yeah. I have a grinder too, so I don't necessarily measure it out because the grinder measures it. But I saw you making it, and I just want one.
All right.
Yours it has like a dial, right?
Yeah,
for like a timer.
with numbers on it.
Yeah.
So
I grind my own, but I just fill the grinder and then I dump it into a jar, so I'm good for the week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do it in the morning when I get up.
Yeah, I usually do about 6 p.m. Get it ready for the next day.
The only time I'll grind fresh is if I'm going to do the French press.
Yeah. Do you change your grind setting?
Yeah, that's why I grind it for the French. Because
I'm just asking.
During the
I
day.
don't know how hardcore you are.
I'm not as hardcore as you.
Well, I'm not even that hardcore.
Jeff's got a Techniform.
I do. And I have a Baratza Encore, which I destroyed. What did I do?
I have a Target French press and a Mr. Coffee drip machine.
Oh, God. Mr. Coffee.
I don't know what brand it is.
You got to upgrade that.
Why?
Get yourself a Techniform.
Send me a link.
Affiliate link. Let's see. Techniform is about $350. What's like 3% of that? It's like $9 we can make.
Yeah. I remember when we were talking about the Technivorm for the first time.
Yeah.
Remember we were at the what's her name's job?
Yeah, well, we shouldn't say.
Yeah, the kitchen.
Yep. Yeah. My wife did not want me to buy that. My son had just been born. I'm pretty sure she wanted to murder me, as she readily admits.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the way.
Yeah. Well, I had that nice, it was a bun, and I got it at Big Lots for a good deal, like probably like $80. And that was like a really highly rated coffee maker.
Yeah.
The bun, I forget what it was called, but it just stopped working. And I actually brought it to Tom's.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
a
wanted
lot
to-
of buns in the catering world.
Yeah, Technivorm Mocha Master. That's the highest rated drip coffee machine in the world. Handmade in the Netherlands.
Do you really notice a difference?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Send me an affiliate link.
It's a nice piece of we don't need the affiliate. It's a nice piece of machinery. And it's like, one factory where they make all the parts. So we're supporting jobs in the Netherlands.
Mm-hmm.
Because God knows nobody in the U.S. is going to make a coffee maker factory.
No.
Yeah. I hear they're bringing it back. They're bringing back manufacturing.
Yeah, I did
Small scale manufacturing.
Yeah, I did watch highlights of the State of the Union last night, and then, everybody tries to sell the U.S. manufacturing, that it's coming back, but we'll see.
It's going to be a long time.
Yeah, they got to incentivize it.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's almost like us. You're a niche company if you're building things in America using American labor and American parts and everything. Like, think of like 1620, like these pants I'm wearing.
Mm-hmm.
People, and it's not that expensive, but like they're cheap. I'm wearing their cheapest pants.
The foundation.
Yeah, $128.
I did. One of the things that the president said was that they're going to pass a law that on any federal building project, like where anything is being constructed, any construction project, all of the building materials will have to be made in the United States.
How is that not already a thing?
I know. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, there's things like I don't know if this is entirely correct, so I guess I shouldn't say it, but isn't it like the drug prices that are set? Like we can't, our government can't negotiate the prices.
Well, he did say, and listen, I'm not into politics. I don't watch politics because now it's like that's like a thing. Like it's like a spectator sport.
Exactly.
But I watched the highlights of the thing. I watched it this morning. He said that Medicare is now going to be able to negotiate drug prices. With, insulin. A vial of insulin costs $10 to produce, $13 with packaging, and they're charging potentially hundreds of dollars in certain states
Right.
It's insane.
You got those buses filled with old folks going to Canada to like buy drugs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because, you get on a fixed income and
they're living off that Social Security. Living their lavish life.
Yeah. People born.
You know what one good way to get them off Social Security is?
How's that?
Make it so they can't afford their medicine.
Yeah, there you go.
It's all a scam. It's all a conspiracy. You know who's behind it? Taylor Swift.
Oh
man,
he's got a point. Why is she taking out the homeless people though?
That's just initiation.
That's true. That's just more of blood sport.
Yeah. It's like the Coliseum days.
Yeah.
It's not her. It's the people she is working for them. If they're okay getting rid of a homeless, they'll be okay getting rid of the elderly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think she does the thumbs up and the thumbs down?
They are bad drivers, the elderly, so may alleviate some stress.
Yeah.
Oh, this is taking a turn.
They've got all the good recipes, though.
They do.
So we probably got to find a way to harvest the recipes before they get taken out.
One good way is to print them onto a cutting board.
Yeah.
Laser etch them onto a cutting board.
We know Jason doesn't listen to this podcast, so that joke's going to fall flat.
Yeah.
A cake recipe on a cutting board. Tell me how that makes sense. That's like putting a soup recipe on a cutting board. Well, at least you cut up the vegetables.
Yeah, a soup recipe makes sense.
Yeah, you got to cut the butter for cake.
Yeah, well, no. Usually a cake's going to have melted butter, isn't it? Or oil.
You still got to cut it for the right amount.
Do you cream the butter and the sugar for a cake?
I think it depends if you're using the creaming method.
Yeah. What about the muffin method?
The muffin man?
Know about the muffin method, creaming method, muffin method?
No.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a baker.
Muffin method, you mix all the wet ingredients and then you pour them into the dry ingredients.
Yeah.
Creaming method, you start with your butter and your sugar. You cream that, then you add your eggs, then you add your dry ingredients.
Yeah.
That's how you make cookies.
Yes. I've never really been a baker. But I've worked in some places, where they have the pastry chef, and I've been like a hanger-on in the pastry kitchen because I like to get all like the cookies that come out deformed.
Oh, yeah.
Or it's like, here, I'm trying a new recipe, Rob. What do you think of this?
Try this out.
Yeah.
Used to be like a 3:00 ritual, grab a cup of coffee, swing by the pastry department and see what's what.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like the two cookies that like bake together until the edges touched.
Bringing back memories, Jeff.
Oh yeah.
I worked in a lot of restaurants, none with a pastry chef.
No, when I was at Dennis Foy, they used to bake the bread, and they were like these rolls. Oh my god, that was so good.
Fresh baked bread is always the best.
Yeah, even like packaged white bread. When I was a kid in Texas, I worked at this wholesale hardware place. And right next door was a bread bakery that made like packaged like Wonder Bread kind of bread. And it just smelled so good.
Yeah.
All day.
There's something primal about the smell of yeast.
It's good. I remember when I worked at the one pizza place, I used to make bread with the pizza dough.
Oh, yeah, sure. Like
I love that.
And stuff like that.
Throw it right in the pizza oven.
Oh, man.
Yeah, fresh baked bread.
I haven't had a carb in at least like 6 weeks.
You going to go off the rails on Super Bowl Sunday?
Oh, no. I can't.
You going to go off the rails for the fishing trip?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be on the straight and narrow until then. Yeah, it's just the recovery time is just too long. It's so bad. It's like being a drug addict,
Yeah.
Like once you can't be a crackhead and then just take one hit of crack. Like give it up and then you're like, I'm just take just one hit. No. It's like you're just going to destroy your life there for a minimum several weeks.
Yeah, it's like it's been like a good month or more that I've been on this soup diet, right?
So you're still on that?
Yeah.
Rob fit out the window.
So did you.
Yeah. Barely.
To get up on the roof here?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's only about this wide.
But it's almost like a entirely vegetarian. Like I've probably eaten, chicken 3 or 4 times, little bits. I had a burrito bowl. I had like a chicken pot pie.
That sounds good right now.
Chicken pot pie is so good.
Yeah, my wife gets them from Sickles.
Ooh, man, not even like a shitty frozen one.
No, it's good. It's like homemade.
What is this place down the street? I want to get back to the soup, but what is this place down the street with the big Sausage King?
Oh, they're pretty good. Pork store?
Yeah, it's supposed to be good.
Yeah, I haven't got anything.
I came in a different way today. I'd never driven that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're supposed to be good.
Yeah.
That's right across from Borough Hall.
Yeah. But anyway, what kind of soup are you eating? Just vegetable?
I'm eating Amy's. Yeah.
Amy's
like
vegetable?
All vegetables.
The minestrone or whatever?
Minestrone, French country, lentil.
Are they made with like beef stock or are they all vegetable stock?
All vegetable stocks.
Wow.
Yeah, well, the ones that I eat mostly are, except for the lentil, are like tomato based.
How's your energy level?
I feel like it's a little bit higher, mostly because I haven't been eating as much junk.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a killer.
That's the stuff that slows you down.
Gets me every time.
Yeah.
So Like, I got a bad sweet tooth.
Yeah, welcome to the club.
Mine's not bad for sweet tooth. I mean, I'll eat a lot of sweets, but mine is more the snack.
Oh,
Yeah, chips,
If I go grab a
pretzels.
thing of chips, I'm eating the whole bag. Like,
Yeah.
I'm terrible at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you're an adult, there's nobody there to tell you, hey, Keith, that's enough chips.
Yeah.
Can't be left to your own devices, And God forbid, like, nobody's home
Oh, jeez.
to even just have, like, a hint of judgment.
Then you hide that bag down into the garbage.
It's like,
pail.
man, you're like elbow deep in the cupboard, like reaching for, snacks that aren't even there.
So
You know, when the wife goes away, I'll get fast food.
Oh, yeah, you're like, what else we got in here? What are these? Oh, these are pretzels that my wife bought 8 months ago.
Oh, yeah.
And they're stale.
These chocolate-covered pretzels.
Oh, yeah. That was like when we did the Christmas
Oh,
snack
yeah,
episode.
yeah. Oh, yeah, we were.
I felt like I had about 112 fever from all the sugar.
I turned that one off.
Yeah, Keith has, what's it called? Phonophobia?
Misophonia.
Misophonia.
Yeah, we were chewing up a storm.
Yeah. There was no
Which
way
is
around
fine.
it.
Actually, I think I suffered through it. What won? What was the best one? And it was Aldi's, right?
I think it was those chocolate covered pretzels.
Yeah.
The pepper candy cane pretzels.
Oh, did it have bits and pieces of the
Yeah.
candy cane? I hate
Yeah.
those ones.
It was pretty good. The popcorn was good too.
Yeah, yeah. There were a couple of big surprises on that.
Yeah, I wish they had some savory Christmas snacks, but
Yeah.
they didn't have any.
Oh, you went specifically for Christmas. That's right.
Yeah. And like Lidl or like Aldi, those kind of places are usually good for that stuff because it's all kind of like,
Seasonal.
yeah, like not a lot of novelty kind of stuff, like a Trader Joe's,
I like
man.
that time between Thanksgiving and Christmas where nobody cares what they're eating.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like nobody judges you if you eat like 5 turkey dinners in that month.
Yeah.
Nobody cares if you're baking cookies every day and eating them. Nobody cares.
People expect you.
Yeah, they're looking at you weird if you're not baking cookies.
Yeah, but then to turn that off on January 1st is very difficult,
Oh,
Yeah.
especially when everyone has a couple cocktails on New Year's Eve and then
Yeah.
tries to start fresh the following day.
The second, I feel like, is
Yeah.
that's when I started. Like, when I buckled back down, it was January 2nd.
Yeah.
You can't, after New Year's Eve, you're gonna eat healthy on New Year's Day? No way.
Yeah. Let me ask you, Keith, if you have one dessert, like one kind of dessert, what would it be? You can only have one.
Ooh.
Like one specific or just one kind?
Well, either or, you can if there's a specific, like let's say it's ice cream,
I would-
chocolate,
I would go
chocolate
ice cream. I would go
You
ice
got
cream.
a flavor?
That's the tough one. I'm a big fan of vanilla
Yeah.
or like a chocolate chip.
A good vanilla ice cream is very good.
It's hard to beat, I know.
That was like, so my son went to a birthday party on Saturday, and
No, I'm going to change that to raspberry.
Really?
raspberry ice cream? Mm-hmm. Black raspberry?
Yep.
Yeah, that is good. He and my wife got home, and they were talking, and she said, oh, Bud, what kind of cake did you have? Did you have vanilla or chocolate? And he said chocolate, and we both said, like, yeah, like when I was a kid, I probably would have had chocolate too, but now I'd probably have vanilla.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I feel like you get to a certain age and it's like you switch from chocolate to vanilla. What's up with
Yes.
that?
Your taste changes?
Yeah.
I mean,
But I still like chocolate.
I don't get why people claim, oh, it's vanilla, right? Like, oh, that's plain.
Mm-hmm.
If you get a good vanilla, it's not
It's
plain.
awesome,
It's got
yeah.
some awesome, like, especially if it's handmade or fresh made
Yeah.
with the fresh vanilla. The best store-bought one is Breyers.
I like Breyers too,
Yeah.
vanilla.
Breyers gets a
Yeah.
little icy for me sometimes.
You got to eat it when you
does.
buy it.
Yeah. I think Turkey Hill French vanilla is a contender.
That's
You ever
the
had that?
creamy colored one, right?
It's like, yeah, like a little bit yellow.
Yeah, I've had it.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's pretty
it's,
good.
It's good. It's no match for Breyers.
Yeah.
I like the Breyers Neapolitan.
That's good.
Yeah. You ever have Neapolitan? Are you like, if you get Neapolitan, are you like a digger into one flavor?
No.
No, at that point, you might as well just buy 1 gallon of whatever.
Yeah.
For half a gallon.
Yeah, I'm very
I like to scrape.
territorial.
I like to scrape widthwise across that thing. Get
Yeah.
a little bit of
Did you say
vanilla.
cherry?
No,
It's
I said
strawberry.
I'm very territorial
Oh.
about my.
I was going to say, you know
Neapolitan.
that's strawberry, right?
Yeah. Like if I open up the Neapolitan and somebody's been digging in one flavor,
It throws off the whole ratio.
Oh, yeah,
forget
you
it.
got to keep the ratio.
Go get your own
yeah,
box of ice cream.
yeah.
Nicholas Creamery
I
over in
can't
Atlantic
wait to-
Highlands. Man, they have a brown sugar cookie dough. It's like a brown sugar, like a vanilla ice cream with brown sugar and then cookie dough.
Yeah?
That's freaking good.
What's that creamery out where you grew up?
I don't know. Oh, Halo Pub?
Halo.
Halo Pub. Not Halo Top, Halo Pub. Yeah. When I worked at Dennis Foy, that's where we got the ice cream. They were clients, and they would bring the ice cream, the Tahitian vanilla from Halo Pub.
Yeah, when I was in college, we used to go there because I don't know what
Halo Farms.
Halo Farms. That's
Halo
what it is.
Pub was the ice cream shop.
Yeah, we used to go there, and my freshman year, I was like the only freshman with a car there because I used
Oh, yeah,
my
'cause you
brother's
went
spot.
to TCNJ.
Yeah, so we would go over there, and they would have like days where they would run a bus over, so you could just go, and everyone who got on that bus was buying for like 30 people. You know, so everyone would come
See,
back
on a
with
list.
huge things. But on the days they weren't running the bus, I would drive over, and we would say, "All right, I'm going," and everyone would give you like $5 for their little pint of ice cream, whatever they wanted. The pints at the time were like $2.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I was
my
making
God.
a killing just on, you know,
Yeah.
That's like right by the circle, right?
I forget where it
yeah,
is.
there's like a circle right there.
It-
Yeah, Halo Farms.
That was some pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, they use like the real Tahitian vanilla beans. That's the thing
Yeah.
about vanilla. It's like, oh, vanilla is this synonym for like plain or whatever. Like vanilla is one of the most expensive, like
yeah,
real
it's an
vanilla.
exotic ingredient.
Yeah, like we're talking, you know, Tahiti, Madagascar. You know, it was like one of those things that people explored the world in order to try and find.
Yeah, yeah. What about cheesecake? Where you stand on cheesecake?
Oh,
I love it.
Yeah, me too.
what about ricotta cheesecake?
I don't know that I've had it, but it sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's good, but I don't think it's as good as like a New York style
Yeah,
cheesecake.
no, it's a little bit almost
It's like
savory side, and it is grainy.
grainy. Yeah.
Now, for the cheesecake, like the regular New York style,
Yeah.
do you like it with the swirled in strawberries or raspberries or the chocolate? Or do you like just straight cheesecake?
I go plain, but I'll
Yeah.
eat any type of cheesecake you put in front of me.
Me too, but I favor the plain. But do you
Yeah.
favor it crustless or with the crust?
I gotta have crust.
Yeah, I like the crust. I'm with Jeff on this one. I'll eat any cheesecake
Yeah.
you put in front of me, but I'll go plain first, and it's got to have.
Now I'm
the
going to throw a
graham crackers.
curveball at you. Did you ever have the one where it's the Oreo crackers instead of...
No,
Oh,
I
instead of
never
graham
did.
crackers.
Oh,
I don't know
that,
if I've had that. But
that's
that
the
sounds
one to
good.
get.
Yeah, Oreo crust.
Yeah.
And
It's not
like,
Oreo
the
cream.
slice
Just
gotta
a-
weigh like it's got to weigh like 2 pounds.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
cheesecake's got to be heavy, otherwise it's not a good cheesecake.
Yeah,
It's got to make you feel like you need to go to bed right after you finish.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. That's like a bagel, you know. Don't give me no 1/8 inch of cream cheese. It's got to be a solid
It's got to squeeze out the sides when you bite into it.
315. I don't even know where that is. Yeah, like it's got to be like nearly a 1/2 inch thick of cream cheese inside the bagel.
Yeah, see, this is where I waver. I like a lot of cream cheese, but some places you go to where it's like that inch or whatever, they put
Yeah.
like a pound of cream cheese. I don't like that. If I bite into it and it's squeezing up through the hole in the middle, that's fine. But if it's falling out the bottom,
I don't want any squeeze because the cream cheese should be dense enough where it's not squeezable.
do you get your bagels toasted or not toasted?
No, you cannot toast a bagel with cream cheese.
I don't.
That's
I
a
was just
sin.
wondering.
I like toasted with butter.
Butters, yeah.
Now, here's
It
the
has
key
to be
with a
toasted
little
if you're gonna have
sprinkle
butter.
of honey on there. Ooh.
I never had that.
Yeah, a little butter, a little honey.
Oh yeah, I used to do toast like that as a kid,
Get some of that John Peters honey. And,
or cinnamon sugar toast. That was a big one as a kid.
yeah, I'm not big on cinnamon.
You just put butter on there and then sprinkle cinnamon sugar on there. I gotta make that for Hunter. I don't know if I ever made that for him.
Oh yeah.
Try with the honey.
Yeah, I do like that butter and honey, man. On a biscuit.
On a bagel.
Yeah.
Oh, this may be too localized for for all the listeners, but Wawa. I went to Wawa the other day, and they have their bagels, sizzlies. I know they're gross, right? but in a pinch, and you're hungry and you got to stop
Yeah,
there.
anything could be good. Well, you're on the road a lot too. So,
Yeah, I'm on the road a lot.
Sometimes you can't be choosy.
So I don't eat breakfast all that often, but this one day I was hungry, so I went there, and they have a pepperoni one now.
Ooh.
So it's slices of pepperoni cheese on a bagel. It was delicious.
That does sound good.
Yeah,
It's also a heart attack and a little,
Oh, yeah.
it's a heart attack waiting to happen. But
I went to WVU for a couple years, and a big thing in West Virginia is pepperoni rolls. So it's like a soft, like dough, and then they put pepperoni and cheese inside of it and roll it up. And, you get them in the convenience stores in like a prepackaged.
yeah, Quick Check has those here.
Yeah, and those were freaking good. And, they were like dirt cheap.
I'm getting hungry.
They had ones that had like pepper jack cheese inside of it. Pepper jack with pepperoni. That's good.
Anything with pepperoni is pretty good.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
I haven't had pepperoni in years.
Oh, my God, you're missing out.
Well, they don't put it in soup.
No.
That's true. Pepperoni soup. Pizza soup. That's like something they're eating in the Midwest. What are we having tonight, honey? We're having pizza soup.
That makes me think of when I was
Pizza soup with a cheesecake casserole afterwards.
I was in high school in Texas, and so this is the 70s, and I worked at Pizza Hut. So I came from New York where, pizza is pizza.
Yeah.
And now I'm working at Pizza Hut, and I'd never really been exposed to that style of pizza before. And they had just come out with the taco pizza. So then, in case you didn't know what that was, because I don't think they make it anymore.
I think Domino's tried it for a while.
I haven't seen it. Like when I was in high school, like the local place, they make the crazy pies for slices. They would have taco pizza every now and then.
Well, the Pizza Hut taco pizza was, instead of tomato sauce, they spread refried beans.
Right.
And then they put like cheddar cheese or some kind
And
of
ground beef.
And yeah, they didn't have ground beef. They had like these little pellets.
Yep.
Of beef.
TVP probably,
Yeah.
textured vegetable protein.
Ugh.
And that was their taco pizza. And I was working there trying to wrap my head around all this stuff.
Then did they put like shredded lettuce and tomatoes on it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Black olives.
Yeah. After it came out of the oven, then you dressed it with the cold stuff.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not like a pizza purist where some people are like, "That's not pizza." Like, I don't care about the semantics of the name. I'll eat the hell out of a taco pizza. It sounds.
Oh, me too. Yeah, I don't care.
I have to admit, because I love Mexican food.
It's just a taco on dough instead of a tortilla.
Exactly. So I had my share of that stuff too. It was like,
I make fun of people that put pineapple on pizza.
oh yeah,
But do whatever you want. I'm not going to say it's not pizza.
I've
I do
never
think
eaten
most of the country doesn't make real pizza, though.
that. No,
My in-laws get into that. They're like, "It's not pizza. That's flatbread." I'm like, "All right, come on,
That's not.
give it up."
I remember when Corey posted that one thing and it looked like a quesadilla, and he called it pizza. I'm like, that photo doesn't look like it. And then we got into the argument.
Yeah, you're not getting good pizza. We had good pizza in Rhode Island. That was really good.
Yeah.
But like a Neapolitan pizza, I feel like that's easier to replicate elsewhere within the country. But like a regular, I don't even know what you call it, just like a regular pizza.
Like street pie, like a regular New York style.
Yeah,
you
you
mean?
can't get it anywhere like you can get it here.
You know where? Too bad we got the commercial plates, because we're gonna drive right past Grimaldi's.
Mm.
Do you know Grimaldi's?
Yeah.
I mean the
That's
crust
coal oven,
is,
right?
Yeah, it's so thin. Like the pizza cooks in like 3 minutes, and it comes to the table. It's just like you can eat like 6 slices.
Yeah, you
Now
gotta
what-
go to Federici's.
Now, what's thinner, Grimaldi's or Pete and Elda's?
Well, I've eaten at both places, and I prefer Grimaldi's.
I do not like Pete and Elda's.
Pete and Elda's is a different. It's
more like a bar pie style,
I don't know how to describe it.
where it's like a real thin, like a cracker.
You can see through it. That's how
Yeah,
thin it is.
I mean Grimaldi's is super thin too, like that. It's just the seasonings and the sauce and even the flavor of the crust is different.
Yeah, I think Federici's is similar to Pete and Elda's. I've never been to Pete and Elda's. But it's for me, it's more of a nostalgia thing. You know, it's like it's not the best pizza in the world, but it's a nostalgia. You know, I've been going there my whole life. My dad's been going there his whole life.
Where's
That's
this?
the way it is.
In Freehold, Federici's,
Yeah,
right on Main Street. It's good.
Like Spumoni Gardens.
Yeah.
You know, you get the Sicilian pie, and there's actually a place in Bay Ridge. I can't remember the name of it. That has the best Sicilian pie, where it's like really super light and fluffy.
Mm-hmm.
That style. That's
really, what I like. I don't like it when it's dense. Yeah.
I got one for you to try next time I come here from my house. I'll bring it.
All right.
It's called Brooklyn Square, but it's
Brooklyn
from
Square.
Jackson. The guy had a place in Brooklyn. He moved out to Jackson.
What's the other big place? The big coal fire place, Lombardi's. Is that what it is?
That sounds familiar.
Lombardi's.
I think that's like the oldest pizzeria in New York or something.
But Spumoni's, I was working one time in the building across the street from there.
Oh yeah, I grew up on West 12th Street.
Yeah?
Which was, walking distance.
I think it was Spumoni's in Brooklyn, right?
Yeah, L&B.
There's like a corner, like a triangle type building there now. It used to be like a little square or something.
Mm-hmm.
Landmark Nolita restaurant is, I guess that's a neighborhood now. Lower Manhattan, 32 Spring Street. Landmark restaurant serving coal-fired thin crust Neapolitan pizza since 1905. Lombardi's.
Yeah.
America's first pizzeria. Little Italy.
But Spumoni's, I was there, and they were filming a movie.
Okay.
Because I was all excited. I'm like, oh, finally I'm right next door. I have no excuse not to go in and grab some. And they were filming a movie there, so I couldn't even go over.
Then you got to get the Spumoni.
You got to get it while you're there and eat it like.
It's unlike anything else that I've ever had anywhere.
What is it? It's got almond extract in it or something?
Well, it's 3 flavors. It's chocolate, pistachio, and vanilla. And it comes, just how they give it to you.
Yeah.
But the consistency and the texture of it is
different.
Very unique.
It doesn't have almond extract in it, though.
Well, it's got pistachio. So,
okay.
It's one of the flavors.
Yeah. I used to work with a guy who would always go, like, now I work with a guy, but I don't travel with him, but he always goes there, and he brings whatever back to the office. I don't work in the office anymore. But I used to work with a guy that if we were anywhere in, like, a 1 mile radius, which is a long ride in Brooklyn sometimes.
It could take you half hour.
We would go there. And the one time I was working across the street, I couldn't go because they were filming a movie.
Yeah, you ever have panelle? Did you ever hear of it? It's like this chickpea patty, and then they smother on like this ricotta cheese and serve.
Is it fried?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Where's that? At Spumoni Gardens?
No, it's at. You can get it at pizza places, like some of them. It's a Sicilian thing, and then it comes on like some soft bread. It's like a little street food. It's.
See, this is where I go wrong. This is what making me want to stop by somewhere on the way home.
Sausage King.
Pizza place and get something.
Let me see if I can look it up.
Yeah, man, that sounds good.
Yeah, panelle. You can't get them everywhere.
Well, you were the one who just introduced me to, what's the other thing? Not a bagel. What is it?
Bialy.
A bialy.
Yeah.
Those are good.
And now I see them everywhere. I had never seen one before.
Oh, yeah, fritter. Chickpea flour, other ingredients, water, salt. On bread, too. They're like, let's put this on bread.
And then you slather on the ricotta.
Oh, man.
When I used to work at the pizza shop, we used to do all sorts of crazy pizzas. Like we had a salad pie where you would chill it after you cooked it with the tomato sauce on there. Then you put like a spring mix on it.
That sounds good.
That was good. But then we made a BLT pie. So instead of sauce, we would put mayo on the dough.
Oh, yeah.
And the minute you put that in the oven and you start cooking that mayo,
people are like, what's that smell?
Everyone orders a BLT pie after that. Everybody.
Mayo's one of those things that like gets a lot of hate. Like a lot of undue hate.
You put it on pizza crust and cook it.
People are like ashamed to admit that they like mayonnaise. It's like something weird about it.
You try cooking it in a crowded restaurant.
Oh, yeah. Like
the whole bar lights up.
An open-faced sandwich, like, your bread, your mayonnaise, your meat, your cheese, and then put that in the broiler. There's nothing better than that.
My wife loves mayonnaise.
Oh, it's so good.
But I never had it. Like growing up, we never had it, and
Don't be afraid to lick the knife after you use the mayo. You're just afraid because you think you might like it.
but you know what I really learned to like it on? It's like, you know when you have chicken cutlets and you have them left over and you're going to make a sandwich?
Yeah.
Chicken cutlet, tomato, fresh sliced tomato, and mayonnaise.
Yeah, they call it a chicken California.
Is that what they call it? Oh.
Yeah.
I don't do
tomato.
fresh cut tomatoes.
Yeah, you don't like tomatoes, right?
No. I mean, I'm kind of allergic to them, but I also don't like them either. I don't like the texture.
Is tomato a nightshade?
Yeah. I like
What
good
is that?
nightshades, like eggplants, tomatoes.
Oh, okay.
I like a good tomato. Like I don't I don't like a bad tomato. I mean, obviously.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, I'm sure you know, they ship tomatoes green,
Yeah.
like unripe, and
Yeah.
they chemically make them red.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why they taste not good, because you know they want them hard.
It's right.
Yeah, they got to
Full
last
appearance.
longer.
yeah.
Yeah.
so they don't get damaged during shipping.
That's like the wax on the apples. You know, they put like this impermeable seal on the outside, so they last like whatever months or something.
That's why I scrape off that stuff.
That's why I just don't eat fruit.
I love fruit though. It's unfortunate.
I went to a
Yeah.
place when I was in college in Trenton that was doing hydroponic tomatoes.
Hmm.
And they were doing it so they could, it was like a research and development for some company. They wanted to be able to sell Jersey tomatoes wherever, and they wanted it to be fresh. And the easiest way to do it was to do it in a controlled environment. So they were doing it like in old warehouses where they were going to set up hydroponic places so they could be.
That's interesting.
I don't know if it's still around, but we took a tour of it because we were I was in a hydroponics class, and it was amazing to watch it, like what they do and how they work. And like, if you took one of those tomatoes, each one looked perfect because there's no bugs, there's no nothing,
No dirt to get on them.
no dirt to get on them,
So the roots grow in water.
and just water, no soil. I mean, I don't think there's no soil.
It's like suspended, I think.
Yeah, and then we had to develop a hydroponic system after that. So I built one. It worked great.
What
They
do
sell
they do?
these
Add
little-
nutrients to the water?
Yeah, there's like a food you put in the water, like a plant
Yeah.
food, or
They sell these little things. They're about like this big, and it's like a.
Arrow garden.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
it's
I have
got a
one.
light, and it's got you just put like your lettuce in there, whatever. It just grows right there in your kitchen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have one. We bought it for my mom for Christmas or something, and since she went away, she gave it to us to care for the winter. So
Remember that gift you gave me here? It's your problem now.
pretty much, yeah.
Don't let my plants die.
I let them die. Yeah, the wife went away for like 3 days, and I didn't know I had to put water in it. I thought the big vat had enough water in it, and it ran dry, so I killed those plants. So I bought new pots, and now I'm waiting for those to grow again. Hopefully I can.
Sounds like my little pet turtle I had when I was a kid.
You forgot to water it?
My mom was cleaning up, and she put them up on top of the refrigerator to get them off the counter. You remember those little plastic things
Yeah.
they used to sell?
Yeah, with the gritty top that went on the top.
Yeah, it had like a fake
Like a
palm
little,
tree.
Yep.
like window thing.
Yeah.
Open up.
Yeah. And there was like a light up there, and it dried up all the water. And you know, it's like, "Where's the turtle?" And he was dead.
Oh,
I had one.
the stink. I
when
can imagine.
I was in the third grade. My mom was a first grader, kindergarten teacher in the same school. But when I was in the third or fourth grade or something, I forget. Our class had sea monkeys. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, of course.
Gem from the 80s. And
I mean, they were back in the '60s when I was a kid.
yeah, I don't think they have them anymore, do they?
Probably they probably just rebranded.
Well,
to
you know
something
what they
else.
are,
Yeah.
right?
They're like germs
It's
or
like
something.
a shrimp. Like
They're
a
brine shrimp.
brine shrimp.
Yeah. So we had them, and at the end of the year, somebody got to get chosen to take them home.
Oh, jeez.
These are
Naturally,
weird.
I got chosen. So I brought them to my mom's classroom for her to bring them home in the car because I had to take the bus on the last day of school. Before the end of the day, she's showing her class and drops them all over the floor. Her whole class was crying that she killed all the monkeys. She killed all the monkeys.
So your mom was a teacher in the school you went to?
Yeah, the elementary school I went to, yeah.
What was that like?
I don't know. I didn't know any different, so
Yeah.
But I mean, to have your mom around all the time, like
I got in trouble more.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't get away with much, could you?
No.
We're like, we know we could drop the hammer on him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I used to get in trouble sometimes, but we used to get during lunch period. They would have like you'd eat, and then I don't know why they would do this, but the last 15 minutes of your 30-minute lunch, you had to be dead silent, and if you weren't eating, you had to put your head down, right? And it was called quiet time or head down time or something. And if you disrespected any of the teachers, they would have you go stand against the wall.
Keith's forgetting to mention this was New Jersey State Penitentiary for Children.
So they'd have you go stand up against the wall. So I had to stand against the wall often. But yeah, you hold a little
Sit on
paper
your
with.
hands.
Yeah, that was
Every
sorta
now and
like
then
when
they'd
I
make
was
you
in
hold
school.
a piece of paper with your nose on the
Yeah.
wall.
God.
Did they hit you back then? I mean, how old are you, Keith?
42,
42. All right. So, I mean, you're
43, somewhere in there.
Because I'm 60, so like I was in school in the early 70s, basically.
Yeah.
Like they could hit you if
Yeah.
you couldn't. And growing up in New York, like they'd let you out for recess or whatever they called it, but you weren't allowed to run because
Yep.
there were too many kids and it was all blacktop, and people would be pushing and shoving and people would get hurt. So if you got caught running, you had to stand against the
wall. But this was just a concrete wall that we'd have to stand on, and it's front of the entire school gets to see you when they come over and they yell at you to stand against the wall. So then you got to stand there, and if you're fidgeting around, you got to hold a piece of paper with your nose. But
I
yeah,
wonder why we got a mental health crisis in this country.
Yes.
This is what they were subjecting
This
the
is what they were
children to.
breeding back then.
yeah,
We had, when I got to Arizona, they had these things called SWATs. And each teacher had a fiberglass paddle. And they would have like...
We gotta bring that
written
back.
on it.
yeah.
And you'd have to go out in the
Punisher.
hallway and grab your ankles. And the teacher would just let it rip right on your ass.
That's fantastic.
And
Got to bring that back.
it was unbelievable.
I'm kidding, obviously.
But so you were supposed to go out there to get like your 2 or 3 whacks. But if you were like me, I'm sure this is going to sound very familiar to you. You can't leave well enough alone,
No.
So they're wailing on you, and you're being a smart ass
Yeah,
at the time.
absolutely.
It's like
They can't let them win.
You're egging them on, exactly. And so 3 could turn into 10.
Yeah.
To drop them back. And all the kids would be like up at the window. They had those clerestory windows.
Watch
people
it.
standing on the desks and everything. It was a whole huge thing.
I was a terrible student.
Yeah.
I would torture my teachers.
I had a nasty spell.
I think, as a teacher, they call that junior high.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to teach junior high.
When I was going to be a teacher, that's what I wanted.
Yeah, that's the hardest.
I thought
age
that would be
group.
fun. Yeah, but that's the most, I don't know.
They're old enough where, they know a little bit, but not old enough where they know too much.
Yeah, they're not going to be too smart assy.
Yeah.
Like a
I
high
still
school
got
kid.
a leg up.
High school kids in junior high, I was, I was just there, right?
Yeah.
But in high school, I was an asshole
Oh yeah.
through and through.
I straightened up in high school. I took a look around and I said, I better right this ship before it's too late.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just rode that knife edge between good and bad. Just good enough, but just not that bad.
Now I met your dad, and I don't know him that well, but something tells me he wasn't fooling around if you got in trouble.
Oh no.
I mean, I wasn't getting in trouble. I wasn't a trouble high schooler, but although my senior year, I was only there for like 90 days. I skipped the rest.
Oh God.
And you're supposed to be there, I think, 182.
182.
And you're allowed 5 excused absences or whatever, or 10 or whatever. And I had like 92 excused or unexcused absences, like just not going.
Yeah. How'd
And
they let you graduate?
I'm going to tell you the story. I shouldn't. But I get called down to the office, right? And the secretary's there, and she's reading my file, and she's like, listen, you have only completed 90 full days of school. Because I used to go in every day, and then I'd leave. And she's like, you've only been here for 90 days. That means you can't graduate. And I was like, it's kind of weird you're telling me that the week before.
Yes.
I was like, whatever. I said, so what do you want from Dunkin' Donuts? She told me she wanted a large, light, and sweet. I said, oh, okay, I'll be right back. And I come back in, and I got the large Dunkin' Donuts. Like, I just left school. This is like first period. I left school. I come back with
talking to the lady who controls the
large Dunkin' Donuts and a dozen donuts, and I put it down. And she goes, I can't wait to see your graduation, Mr. Drennan. Back to class I went.
just goes to show you, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
That's right. That's right. And not much has changed since, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we had a guy, Mr. Cook, and he was like, I guess, they called him like a student manager or something, but he was the truancy officer for the school. And yeah, I had a similar thing where he called me in. It's like, I see here, this shows that on the 10th, you weren't in fourth period history. I said, no, I was there. And it was just, they just let it slide, like.
Well, I mean, to give you an idea, we were in this program called Wings, which was, I forget what it stood for, but it was in the tech ed program, right? So they didn't call it tech ed back then, but that's what it was, a tech ed program. And we had a radio station at the school, and we would have to we'd have to go out and sell advertisements for the school or for the radio station. So during that period, we were allowed to leave. So like they knew the cars that could leave that were in this program were supposedly good kids. None of us were. So we would just like leave and go out and market like you would if you worked at a radio station. You'd have to go door to door in your local community and get advertisements that would then air on the radio station. So we were leaving all the time. So like junior year that started, and then by senior year, me and the 8 of us that would do this would be pretty good at it, and we would just disappear. But the guy who ran that program, and I'll say this because I'm sure he's retired by now, he was fantastic. But he would tell me like, hey, I'm having a pool put in at my house, and I need to get electric out to the pump. No problem, sir. And you leave, like this is in the homeroom, and I would leave, and I'd go dig the trench, and I'd come back to school, and he would
A+.
Yeah.
It's funny because things were like that. When I went to high school in Texas, I was in a class called vocational agriculture, because it was a small rural town. And that was like second period. And the kids that I hung out with, we were on the football team.
Okay.
And they would say, go to the teacher, oh, we have to run into town to get feed or whatever. And so you have to, so the school had a pickup truck.
Yeah.
Here, teenager, take the keys to the school pickup.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I just got a text message.
We would take this old truck and drive into town and just come back for football practice.
Yeah, right.
With the 20 pounds of feed or whatever that you needed for the the steer or the I think they had chickens and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
We'd leave the period before lunch, and then we'd drive. So where I grew up, about a half hour, 40 minutes, I guess, kind of south of New Brunswick. So we'd leave the period before lunch, drive to New Brunswick, get fat sandwiches, and just skip the whole rest of the day.
Yeah.
Or we'd go fishing, or me and my buddy Sodi would look up on Auto Trader where there was a cool car and go can we check out the Z06? We're 2 16-year-old kids in my Crown Victoria or something. And the guy, they would humor us, but it's we're not going to buy this car.
Yeah.
Is it coincidence we wound up in these, fields of work, or is these stories are just all too common?
Oh, I'm sure we would be like stockbrokers or something if we were in school the whole time.
Be retired at 34.
I'd be some tech billionaire.
I think it has to do with how you're wired,
Yeah, school wasn't for me until I got to college. I really enjoyed going to class in college.
Yeah.
I hated school up until that point. There was nothing in it for me.
Yeah. It depends on the subject. Like a lot of my college classes, because I went to be a shop teacher. So
okay.
Half of my classes were phenomenal, and I loved it. And I would spend extra hours in the labs and stuff, which is the wood shop or metal shop or whatever, just doing whatever. But then when it comes to history and physics and chemistry and didn't I learn all that stuff in high school?
Yeah.
I mean, shouldn't I have learned it all if I had gone to high school? You know what I mean?
I can't sit in the lecture classes. I can't do it. I can't sit there and take notes for a 90-minute class. No matter how interesting the subject is, like if it's interesting, I want to sit there and put my full attention into it and not sit there and write notes.
Notes are hard. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's
everyone learns differently though.
Yeah.
Like I had one class, which is why I'm not a teacher. It was American history class.
Yeah.
And the guy would just get up there and read the book.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of his tests, quizzes, and finals were all essay.
Oh, God.
So he didn't grade it on if you got the information correct. He graded it on how well it was written.
Oh, that's nonsense.
So
It's
I
a
failed.
history writing class.
Professor Zanine, and if he's dead today, I'm okay with that. I took this class 5 times to try and get rid of the F, and I failed all 5. So when you go, I wasn't I'm not stupid. I'm not a bad student. But when you go and you fail a class, you have 2 tries to get rid of that F.
Okay.
Right? So that didn't work because I failed it 3 times. So on the 4th time, I went down to the dean, and he's like, all right, I'll make it a C if you get an A on the 4th try. And that didn't work.
No.
He gave me the teacher hated me. Like the 3rd time I took it or the 4th time, he's like, he would be going through the attendance and he goes, and he would get to like, I don't know, dean or something. That's a bad one for a school, but whatever comes before Drennan. Yeah. Right. And he would be like, and then he'd get to the next name and he'd go, all right, I want everyone to look in the back there. That's Mr. Drennan. If you want to know who won't be passing this class, it'll be him. And then just keep going.
Me.
Yeah.
I'll break you, Drennan.
He just didn't like me for some reason.
Oh, man.
I never caused trouble in his class. It's history class where he just reads. There's no raising your hand. There's none. Yeah. It was just.
It's funny because I taught history.
Yeah, I'm terrible at history. Don't get me wrong,
You
but
said something, or like in one of your essay questions, you wrote something that first semester that he didn't like, and he just decided he's like, "That's it." Done.
Here's the other problem. I only took this class. I could have taken any easier history class, but I took it because my roommate at the time said, "Hey, I'm taking this class. You want to take it with me? It's one and done.
Yeah.
If you take this class, then you don't have to take a second history class. You're just one and done." I was like, "All right, yeah." And my roommate was ridiculously smart, but on top of that, he had one of those eidetic memories or whatever.
Oh, jeez.
So he would sit there during the test, and his eyes would be going back and forth, and he would read the book from memory, And I'm like, how are you doing this? See, he could write down, and he was a good writer and everything. So I don't know if he knew we were roommates, and one guy looked like he was cheating, and then there was me. I don't know.
I'm sure if I went back to school now, I'd probably have a 4.0, but
Yeah.
you're just not mentally ready for that kind of stuff sometimes.
No. I was always, I graduated with a 3.86 or something like that from college. I was much better as a student in college than I was in high school. But as a history teacher, I realize that's a lot of people, they have like the great man way of teaching history where it's all just names and dates, and I wasn't like that at all. And I used to give like a quiz every week, 10 questions, what we go over, and I taught in some not great schools, and you have to pass history to graduate. And I
Yeah.
used to open up every class. It's like, this is your best chance to ever pass American history. Just play,
Don't
screw
play
it up.
nice, and we're going to get along. And that's the way it went. And,
It's
but
crazy.
most people hate history.
I don't
because
like it.
They have a lot of bad teachers in history.
Well, there's also the problem with there's a lot of bad concepts in teaching history.
Oh, yeah.
So there's like this guy who just reads it, and then you have to tell him a story back,
Yes.
right? And then there's people who are like, well, you got that date wrong. It was 1943,
Yeah.
not 1942. In the grand scheme of things, does that really
it doesn't matter at
Yeah.
all.
It's not the date that's significant, you know,
Right.
typically.
But there are teachers that only go by dates because they're a numbers guy. Like there's a lot of way. Like when you get to math, you either know it or you don't.
Yeah.
When it gets
There's
to
only a
history,
right or wrong in math.
yeah. When you get to history, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I used to like to, concentrate on like more conceptual things, and
Yeah.
also you'd run into kids that couldn't read at grade level, so you have to come up with something, some way for them to process the information and
Right.
get it back to you, because they would have trouble reading the textbook.
Yeah, what I forget now. It's been a long time since I've been in college. But what are the different types of learners?
Oh
There's
yeah,
like cognitive, kinetic.
there's 7 different types
Yeah, yeah.
of intelligences.
Yeah. And what, as a
Social,
teacher, you have to hit
yeah.
all of them.
Bodily kinesthetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, like visual,
Visual,
auditory.
yeah. Yeah, I remember doing some kind of finals project like that, comparing, an athlete to somebody who was, let's say, like a physicist,
Right.
and where we would, tend to say somebody who's a physicist is intelligent, but somebody who's, a world-class athlete is talented.
Yeah.
Where, I tried to...
But at the same token, there is some intelligence needed to be a world class athlete.
Right,
Too.
that was my argument.
Like look at
That
Tom
was
Brady. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's a different type of intelligence.
he wasn't the most athletic guy in the world, but he's the
Right.
most intelligent, so he appears to be the most athletic guy.
So we all made it to college, despite our,
Yeah, I didn't graduate, but
despite our early troubles.
I
Yeah.
just went just for the debt.
Yeah,
I got accepted. I feel like that's all I went for.
Figured I'd saddle myself with that for the rest of my life.
I got in and I got into TCNJ not because of my grades in high school or anything, but because one, my brother went there, so I had like that, they try and get the lineage going or whatever. And then I got a letter because I was conditionally accepted after I met with the dean of the School of Engineering.
mm-hmm.
So I had to go down there and meet with the School of Engineering, this guy, Dean Kranick, right? And I met with him, and he's like, listen, you don't belong here. You shouldn't be coming in with your grades. But because this is a new program that we're doing at this school, we're going to bring you on because your brother goes here, and wrote a letter that said,
Nice.
a recommendation letter. So I wasn't supposed to be there. So then I get there, and my first 4 classes were all like rudimentary classes that I had to pass just to prove that I should be there. And he's like, if you don't pass these, and I aced them all. And then I got not straight A's, I got a lot of A's and B's, but my grade point average was fine. Like I was in probably the mid 3s until that history class, my junior year, and then 5 times doing that. When you got 5 F's for one.
Oh my god!
And it all goes on your transcripts, and then I brought it down, and then they're like, well, you can't get a teaching certificate because you're like at a 2.74 and you need to be a 2.75.
You're kidding me.
Oh, so
No.
that guy really screwed you.
Oh yeah. I think I was like a 2.7 or I was like real close.
Fractions.
Fractions, yeah.
That's nuts.
And then I argued that can't they take the 2 off they would have and just leave 3 F's, and they wouldn't do anything for me. They want my money. They want me to keep going back.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
They're like, well, if you had taken it in summer school, we would have passed you.
Well, I went a whole extra year trying to get around it.
Yeah. Does it like average back out? Like, does the GPA encompass as many years as you're there?
Yeah, it would have.
Yeah.
It would have. But then I took the technological studies degree and got out. But yeah.
Yeah, I was like that in math. I didn't take any math in high school. You know, I took the bare minimum, and then when I got to college, I was at Brooklyn College, and they had like this core curriculum thing.
Right.
And I was taking a one and done kind of thing, and I was so far behind conceptually, I didn't know anything. So I'd go, and I had like this African math teacher who had like a heavy, like sort of broken, like British English and native accent, so it was hard to understand. And then I'd go to the labs, you know, with all the students, and they were all foreign students too. All the ones who were doing the best in math,
Right,
were all
naturally. Yeah.
foreign students, and I was like, I'm doomed.
Yeah. So when I was in high school, I remember I did terrible in geometry. Whatever comes after geometry, I think was trigonometry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like I did so bad that like to keep you moving through, they just gave me a different, like there was a different math class for kids that weren't good in math. But then when I was looking for colleges, I was like, oh, maybe I'll be an engineer. And they're like, well, your math is terrible. You can't do it. And now I graduated, and then all I do is geometry and engineering. It's like, it doesn't matter what you learn in school.
It's all about context, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I actually taught math at Saturday schools too. It wound up, I was like one page ahead of the kids.
Yeah.
I'd go into class terrified that somebody would ask me a question that was like, you know, that I had no answer for.
Yeah. I only know how to do what we're going to go over today.
That's a good question. Save that for tomorrow
Yes.
because we're actually
I had answers like that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you asked that because that's actually what we're going to talk about tomorrow.
There's a big technique, like if you're giving speeches or whatever, like if you're teaching a lecture and somebody asks something, like if you say, if you have a question about anything I'm talking about, raise your hand and we'll go over it right away. And if somebody raises their hand and it's something off topic, the idea is we're going to get to that later in the lecture and then go back to what you were doing. But if it's on topic, then you answer it, right?
Uh-huh.
It's the same thing with teaching. Oh, yeah, we're going to get to that. And then you never get to it, and they forget about it.
You think you would have been a good teacher?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yes and no. I would have been a good teacher to anyone who wanted to be there.
Yeah.
Which was kind of why I wanted to be like the shop teacher, because it's all electives, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in high school, like you have to want to be in the wood shop, or you know, just have you removed from my class was my thought, you know.
Yeah.
But I can't really handle stupidity that much, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, you have to have a lot of patience, and you have to, and dealing with the adults, it was hard. It was harder than the dealing with the kids.
One of the reasons why I didn't fight the whole thing about trying to go back for and I probably should now, to go back to get my license for it, is I was doing JPE or whatever, where you're teaching at a school.
Mm-hmm.
I'm teaching in junior high, and I was in a shop class, and two of the girls come over, and they're like, oh, that's a nice shirt, Mr. Drennan. And then they walk away, right? So then the teacher comes over. You know, it was like towards the end of class anyway. The teacher comes over, and he goes, oh, yeah, we can't really have them saying stuff like that. You know, you can't say thank you to something like that. I was like, okay, whatever. And then the class ended, and it was my last class, so I had to go back to class. He's like, all right, now we got to go down and fill out paperwork. I fill out paperwork for what? You know, I'll be back tomorrow. I had to fill out paperwork for potential sexual harassment with these kids because they complimented me on my shirt. And this is like 2001 time frame, somewhere in there.
When I was teaching.
And you had to fill out paperwork because
junior high.
Because it was probably your school. It was over there.
Yeah. Thomas R. Grover Middle School.
That's the one.
Wait, this is the guy that touched me. That's a bad joke. It's not appropriate to joke about that kind of stuff.
but yeah, he said that's probably every day he has to go down, and it never gets like, unless it becomes an issue, it's not a problem. But you have to go down there and fill out your paperwork, so you're.
Oh, it's like a getting ahead of the
getting ahead of
threat of.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, You can't have.
Can you imagine what it's like today?
Like that, because kids can they're schemers. We were all kids. Girls come on to you all the time.
Yeah. They're like, I'm going to get rid of this guy. Watch this.
Yeah, and all they have to do is even just make something up completely. Like,
yeah, you hear about that?
Nothing could have happened, and then all they have to do is go to like a guidance counselor and say something like, Mr. So-and-so makes me uncomfortable the way he looks at me.
And you're done.
And it goes right in the file.
And what's weird is in a shop class, you got to be attentive to every kid and like watching their every move. You can be looking at their hand and they think you're looking at something else.
Yeah.
You're in big trouble.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It was probably a good twist of fate because I don't think there's many shop programs left.
There aren't. They've all switched to tech. And, well, that's the other problem. Like, I started school and then they switched to this tech ed stuff, So, which is fine. But it's all like pre-engineering and everything.
Yeah,
and it's great. Like, I had a guy from my old high school who became a tech teacher, right? And he's now teaching at my old high school, and I contacted him to find CAD drafters. I'm like, just give me the guy who's not going to college, who's graduate. It was like in May. I was like, who's going to graduate in a month? That's not college material. That's in your CAD class. Give me that guy. I can give him a job.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't do it.
Training,
He wouldn't recommend any of the kids that weren't going to college. He's like, I don't want to promote anyone not going to college. Like, your whole point as a teacher is to set these kids up for the future.
Yeah.
Like,
not everybody's built for college, but everybody needs to make a living.
Right.
Right. And I'm offering a pretty decent job, right?
Yeah.
Within a couple of years, he could be making $75,000, $80,000 a year out of high school.
That's a wonderful thing to do.
And he's like, I'm not going to recommend any kid. And he was sending me these college kids, right? And he's sending me all these graduating engineers, like mechanical engineers and stuff. I'm like, I don't want these kids. He's like, why? They're good, hard workers. I'm like, I'm looking for a drafter.
Right.
I'm looking for a career drafter. This guy is going to come in. I'm going to have to spend 6-7 months training him. And by that time, he's going to get bored and find a job in engineering and be gone.
Else, yeah.
I'm like, but yeah.
I didn't have a shop class.
I was going to ask if you had shop back
No,
then.
but I did take one elective course in middle school that was like, I forget what they called it. It was like something engineering. You build like a little bridge out of popsicle stick type shit, or like a thing to drop an egg and make sure it doesn't break, that kind of stuff. But that was it. There was no wood shop. There was no metal shop. There was no shop, for like a auto shop. None of that.
See, I went to school during the golden age of shop.
Yeah.
There was auto shop, wood shop.
Yeah, we had
metal
all
shop.
that. Yeah, we had all that.
I did things like leather craft.
Yeah.
Lost wax casting. Like,
cooking was as close to any of that as I got.
I mean,
it was
amazing.
I took flower tying, like dried flower tying, as a class in high school. I took fly fishing tying and fly reel making.
Wow.
In high school.
That's pretty cool.
Like, as a high school, like, one semester course,
Yeah,
you got
yeah.
like 4 different things to choose. But my senior year, I basically took wood shop almost every period I could.
They had robotics in high school. And I think that was the same thing in one semester.
Yeah.
But I think I didn't have the prerequisites to get into it, because you probably need a calculus or something.
Yeah.
That's the
Shame.
problem. You don't really need that.
No.
Somebody somewhere makes that crap up, and then they pigeonhole you, and you could have been the guy who makes the robot arms.
Yeah. I mean, I could take calculus and fail. There's no, I don't have to do a prerequisite for that. So you tell me I can't take robotics and fail? Like, if I don't know it, then I don't know it.
Yeah. I get robotics 202.
Yeah.
You should have to take 102.
Yeah, it's a shame they got rid of all these shop classes. I mean, they
Well, they're all
your
pre-engineering
sister
now.
writes curriculum, doesn't she?
Yeah, she was a teacher. She got out of it. Now she, literally writes the textbooks.
Yeah. I just think it's crazy that even still now, like when we were in school, they pushed, if you're not going to college, you're POS, And they're still pushing that mantra in schools. And I'm like, what? Stop.
Yeah.
There's everyone I know that didn't go to college is probably better off than me. I'm 20-something years out of college, and I just paid it off a month ago.
Oh, congratulations.
And I wrote a big check just to get it off my plate. Like, I wasn't anywhere near done. I think I had 2 years left.
Did you have Sally Mae, or was it private
Sally
finance?
Mae.
Yeah.
Well, It was like I never qualified for any of the government stuff, so I guess it was private. But I was also in college for the better part of a decade trying to get rid of a history F. So,
fucking guy. I hope you're listening, asshole.
I hope he's not.
He's in a nursing home somewhere. He picked up woodworking, in his old age. That bastard Drennan.
Yeah.
He wasn't that old then. He's probably still alive, but he's jackass. Everyone hated him, I would go down to bitch to the dean, like, I got to do something, the dean of the history department. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, yeah, Zanine. Yep. Nobody likes him.
Tenure. We can't touch him.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's really unfortunate. I mean, usually as a teacher, you think about all the times you may have, helped somebody, because a good teacher could really change and influence a life just with a little bit of kindness or a help, a bit of advice. But here's a great example of somebody changing the whole course of a student's life.
Yeah, and I took the class 5 times. It's not like I didn't know the material. Mm-hmm. I had read the book. I didn't have to buy a new textbook every year. I had the book highlighted. I knew from past people who wrote papers and stuff, they would give me papers. Like, I had people trying to help me pass this class, but it was the essays and the finals. When you're there, there's no cheating then. I cheated my way through a lot of college, but not that class.
You couldn't chat GPT it?
No.
How you doing on time?
A few minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, so let's wrap it up. You got to get to your class.
I got to get to my class. That professor's pretty good. I'll tell you guys about that later.
Well, yeah. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
A nice long one. We haven't had a good long one in a while. So
how long was it?
About an hour and 40 minutes.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Goes by so fast.
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, when we did the one with Manny, it was like 4 hours, and we're like, man, it's been 4 hours already. Manny, I know you're not listening, but we're gonna have you on soon. I've been trying.
We'll have to do an episode from the lodge.
Yeah. I think we're gonna have our hands full. We're gonna be busy.
I think you can get it done after a day of fishing when people are cooking before the drinking starts.
Yeah, we're gonna have to plan a nice meal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Got to see if what Brad's deal is, if he's coming or not.
Yeah.
I don't want to cook for that guy.
Like I said, I think he's.
I don't think he's food snob at all.
No.
Okay.
He's like the cheesecake thing, I like this cheesecake, but I'll eat any cheesecake you put in front of me.
Yeah. All right.
Even like a cheesecake, From...
Does he listen? Is he hearing this?
Maybe. I don't know. Probably not.
Did you make the wings last time?
Wings.
Who made wings? Didn't we have wings?
No.
We had clams. Clam jam.
We had meatballs and sausage. Mm-hmm. We had
I did burgers and sausage.
Burger. Anthony made pulled pork. I made the meatballs and sausage. We cooked the clams that the clam jammer brought. I think that was it for dinner because it was only Friday night and Saturday night.
Be nice to make like a roast or something, like get a couple of tenderloins of beef maybe at Costco.
Yeah. A little Chateaubriand. Beef Wellington.
I was just talking to the wife about that last night. We were watching a cooking show. I was like, I've never had a beef Wellington.
I don't think I've had it either, but I like everything that's in it.
I was watching that Master Chef or whatever it is.
Oh, is that Gordon Ramsay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we could do this circle 100 times where we say we're going to end the show and then we talk about something else.
Yeah.
we got to get Keith
We've been known
back
to do
on
that.
The road.
Well, thanks for listening.
Everybody take care.
Don't forget to write in your questions. You got 3 weeks.
Look up Make What You Fear.
Yes. Check out Working Hands Podcast and Make What You Fear. They have a bunch of prizes from a bunch of different places.
Yeah, good stuff.
And there's how many weeks left? 2?
When's this air? Friday? Yeah, it's the end of February it ends.
Yeah, this comes out on the 10th.
Yeah, check it out.
So you got a couple weeks to enter the contest, Make What You Fear 2023. Talk to you next week. As always, Rob and I thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. If you want to help support the podcast, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. You can join our Patreon, or you can use one of our affiliate links in the podcast description for vesting finishes or Myoderm CBD pain relief cream. Again, we appreciate your support. Thanks for tuning in.